All right, so unfortunately, what ended up happening is my phone filled up and it cut off the video. And I didn't notice until I'd done a little bit more painting. But then I stopped, I solved my problem, and now I have my phone is back. So I'll just talk to you about kind of what I did when I was painting. So basically, what I did is I took my paintbrush and I painted bits of water where I wanted the clouds to be, and then I kind of charged it with more color. So it's like water and then more color, and what happens is the water, the color only flows where I stuck the water. So I can get like different amounts of clouds in here. So I have, so I think from last time, the things I added like these and these little bits here, and then some of the color that's charged up here. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some more clouds here so you can kind of see. So step one, as always, I'm gonna grab my water. I always make sure that there's, like, whenever I take water, I just wanna make sure I showed you this. I always, kind of get the excess off because I don't want a big drop of water to drip down the paper, because if that happens, then obviously, you'll end up with a big drop of water. So starting here, I am just going to paint a little bit here. This is just water, and I can make it a kind of furry edge, because clouds kind of have a furry edge. And I also noticed that I made a mistake and I forgot to re-wet my colors. So I'll do that now. Here is my purplish red color. And also, here's my blue. Sorry, these are from yesterday because I had to figure out how to fix my, how to fix my paint. So we have a purplish color and a bluish color. So both of these are kind of blue with purple. And then this one, which, there you go. This one here is like red with purple. So we have our reddish blues, we have our blue purples, we're good. Our reddish blues. Oh my goodness, what am I saying? Our reddish purples and our blue purples. Reddish blue is purple. Ugh. Okay. All right, so I got this color and I've got my purple. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and this is the center. So I am just trying to spread this out. I don't like that drop, so I can kind of pull it up. And then same thing up here. I'm just charging it with some more color. So the other thing that you'll notice on the picture is that it has a little bit of like pinkish orange in it. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna make a pinkish orange. So let's see. So first thing, I have some orange. Actually, I guess I kind of have some here. It's kind of an orange, and then we'll grab this orange here. Grab some orange here. And I'm going to grab a little bit of red because I'm looking for like a red orange. That's kind of nice, isn't it? All right, so I got my red, orange, and feel free to try your colors out in your sketchbook before you put them on the paper, just to make sure that you like what's happening. All right, so let me grab my paintbrush. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab this guy. This is my smaller but still round brush, and I'm gonna grab some of this color, this orangey pink one that we just grabbed. And I'm just gonna put this in here because the idea is that, I don't know if you guys can see it. So let me zoom in so you can kind of see there. So what happens is, like, I am charging the color just on the edge, and then it's kind of flowing in there. I'm gonna do the same thing up top here so that you get that, like, see how they just kind of flow into each other? Like, the reason we want this, we want these colors to kind of, like, nothing, generally speaking, skies especially don't have these solid blocks of color. So let me back it out a little bit so you can see. So we're just trying to get that. And I don't think I put any clouds here. So I'm going to get some water going here. There we go. So here we are. All right, so what'll happen is if we put different amounts of color, it'll start to build up and kind of look like clouds flowing. So I put in some more water, and we're gonna go back and we're gonna dry my brush, and then I'm gonna grab that bluey purple that I made before and just kind of tap into it and let that kind of flow. Yep, and also down here. I'm letting that flow. So what'll happen, since I didn't create, I just kind of let that flow, it should just sort of flow into everything else. And I'm gonna do the same thing down here. I forgot to put some water there. So step one, let's paint some water, because this is definitely a darker blue than we have here. So I'm actually gonna make the water go up, but I'm not gonna spread the color all the way up. I'm just gonna kind of, there you go. Just kind of bring that happening this way. And as always, I don't want that to look like it's just stopping there. So I'm spreading it out into everything else. And I also want, I'm gonna grab my smaller brush because I can. And I'm grabbing a little bit of paint, and I'm just gonna make a little bit of a cloud there. There we go. See, I think I had too much water on my brush. That's all right. That is fine. And there you go. So we are just kind of letting this go. We actually also have a couple of really, really light spots of yellow that I think I'm gonna come back in and do maybe a little later when that dries. I can come in, but there is a little bit of blue that's happening down here that we can't see yet. So I am gonna paint it. Let's see. So first, I just take the regular old water. All right, so here's my water. Water, water, water. And up to there. Okay, so now that I have this water, I am going to, you know what? I don't have just a plain blue. So I'm gonna take some blue, and look at me, I didn't clean my tray. See, don't be like me. Clean your tray. I have all this old stuff for me. So to clean it really simply, if you are in the same pickle I am, where you let things dry. See, I like to save color, so I never clean my palette until I'm ready. But there you go. That one's all nice. That's clean. Take this, I'll make some blue. So I make my blue. I'm doing this because I'm going to put just a couple of tiny little blue bits down here. So I'm going to switch out, grab my small brush. I dried off the extra paint, grabbing that blue, and here we go. There you go. I know, so it's just gonna flow outward. I'm actually gonna carry it all the way over here to that. Let that happen. All right, you can kind of see it spread out. That's not bad. And we actually have a couple of tiny little lines here. So I'm looking at the picture, which, if you look online, you'll be able to see that picture too. I'm gonna post it so that you'll be able to see it. All right. Oh, what is that orange piece? Oh my gosh, we have like a catastrophe. All right. So that was a happy little accident. And here's how we, yep, that is some horrible stuff right there. All right, so what I'm gonna try to do to fix this, because we talked about this, I'm just gonna grab some water and see if I can just soften it ever so slightly. I think it's gonna probably end up being stuck there, but I can at least soften it a lot with my paintbrush. Maybe I can turn that into like a little cloud or something. I think I'm gonna fake it and turn that into a little cloud. So let's fake it. There we go. Okay. And there we go. How you like them apples? Now it looks like a cloud, even though it's not supposed to be there. Let me get another one. Okay. Feeling good about myself. All right, so I've got some clouds happening here. So we're gonna kind of wait for some of this to dry. So we're gonna, actually right here is a bunch of like pinkish orange. We're gonna go back to this color that we already made. So I just have water on my brush. So I grab some water, just water. And I am gonna paint some water on the paper. I don't know if you can tell, just water. Don't want that much. And I'm gonna grab some of this color. And there we go. I'm just bringing in that color. And like I'd said before, what we can do is we can kind of blend it in so that it doesn't look like it stops right there. All right. So we have quite a bit of stuff going on here. And we kind of got to start working on the ground a little bit, but I was just building up. So what I want you to notice is that as we do this, let me pull back a little bit so you can kind of see everything. As we do this, we are just kind of building up layers of color. This is never about like the hit it and quit it kind of thing. You know, imagine if I had a big sun, like a big circular sun setting, I could have taken a piece of masking tape and just put it smack dab in the middle there and then paint it over and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So maybe we'll peel this back. Actually, so what we have here is there is like a little rock in the distance that's happening. And then we have some boats we're going to put on top of it. But I wanted to paint those rocks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll just show you a little shifting action. You'll see here I have this old blue here. So I'm going to take that blue that I had from before. I'm going to reactivate it. If I want, I can always test it if I'm not sure I like the color before I start to paint it. But this is basically a blue with a little bit of orange and purple in it. It's kind of a neutralized. Like I said, very infrequently do we go straight in here. We usually want some kind of mixture of colors because there's a richness. You know, we don't just want to paint with 7 colors. We want to paint with like a gazillion colors. So, you know, we sort of experiment. So I have this. That is nice. Yeah. Now I'm going to grab some of my purple from over there. All right, so now I have this, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make those little mountains that are way off in the distance. They are not in the center. They're kind of here. So here's my mountainous structures. And they're not just V's, right? Because we don't want that. We want kind of, you know, a tiny little bit of interest to it. So then once this dries, we're going to have a boat here, or a boat here, and we're going to have a boat here. So it's just something in the distance. And actually, you know what? I see a couple of other things, so we're going to drop them in there. Yup. Cool. And we're testing. Feels kind of dry. Like I said, if you're impatient, you are welcome to use the blow dryer. And I would like to mention that I don't love my little orange spot here, but what can you do, right? The answer is just shrug. All right, so what are we gonna do? We want to make this blue, this background blue, a little darker. So I'm gonna take my paintbrush and I'm just gonna, oops, look at me dripping water everywhere. Okay, I am just gonna put in the water where I'm gonna make this blue color flow. So I put the blue in first. I might even go over top of everything, right? Yep. There we go. All right, so we have this blue. And I'm gonna even pull it over. We are actually gonna lift out afterwards. We're gonna put down some blue and then we're gonna come back and pull out where the clouds are so that we can get that nice, but we just wanna make this just a little bit darker because it's not dark enough. Like it's the sky. Skies can be very bright and blue and we want that to be something that's very visible. So we're spreading that out. There's our blue. We can charge it with more color if we want to. See there? Oh, see, I don't like this. All right, so now we have all this blue here. It's nice. I'm gonna take our paper towel and we're just gonna kind of come in and we're just gonna dry it a little bit because we want it to look like there are clouds kind of in the sky with different variations and saturations of color. So we have super bright stuff and then we have super light, super less than bright stuff. All right. So there is still some yellow that we have to go back and add, but I think we're going to work on the ground instead. So as you're working on your project, the thing that I want you to keep in mind is you have to demonstrate at least 6 techniques. So if we look at what we've done so far, we've done washes, we've done feathering, we've done gradient washes, we have definitely done glazing. So that's 4. And we haven't even, and we've done lifting out. So that's 5. Holy cow. When we start doing down here, when we do the water, I think we're going to use some salt so that we can get, that look that you often see with water. Okay. And we might, depending on how boring it is, we might also put some spatter down, but we have to see. So now we are pulling up this color. This piece of tape. Here we are. There we go. Perfect. All right. And for now, I like to reuse, so I'm going to stick that there. Okay. So next, we are going to want to paint. Let's start out. Let's talk about the colors. So when we do water reflections, you definitely want there to be some repetition of the colors in the sky. They won't be as brilliant because they're just reflections, but they're going to be there. So, you want to make sure that you have all your colors saturated that you want. So here we are. I'm saturating color. This is the one we made before. I kind of want to make more of that. So let's grab some more orange. Hello, orange. And grab some more red. Hello, red. There we go. And there. Perfect. And okay. So now I'm taking my brush. I am drying off the extra bits. And I am just going to put in some water. So like I said, this is going to be where the water is going to flow. Where the color is going to flow. So we're going to start out and we are just going to make this really, really light. So the first thing I see is that here, there is blue along that back edge. So we're going to take some blue. I just took a little bit from the one that I mixed up, right? This guy. And all I'm going to do, and I can actually maybe I'll use a smaller paintbrush actually, because we don't want to go too crazy. So take my paintbrush. And in case you're wondering, I forgot to mention the numbers on the paintbrushes, like the 6, the 2, the whatevers, those have to do with millimeters, like how many millimeters wide it is. Okay, I think. That's a guess, but I'm pretty sure. All right, so you see how when we put this down, it just kind of automatically flows downward. That's what we want. We want that downward flow. And then we're going to grab some other colors. We're going to put them here. And as always, we don't love, so what I can do is I can kind of drag my paintbrush back and forth because, it's water. So it's not going to have like firm lines. And we want it to kind of flow. Up front, we have some of this purplish color. So I'm going to grab that. And we're going to start making those in there. Because we want this to look like what it is, which is, So I'm looking at the picture, and there looks like there's that is really dark for what we want. So I'm just take this, and I'm just going to suck it up. All right. And this. All right, so we are just kind of building up all of that like reflecty texture. So notice I'm kind of using the same colors kind of over and over again. And it's kind of time to put in some boats. So the boats are like a yellowish brown color. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we probably wanna draw them in there. So let's see, we could, if we wanted to. Should we, do we have a pencil? Ha, we do have a pencil. All right, so we have 3 boats that exist here. So we have one boat, that is still wet, okay. You know what, while we're waiting for that to dry a little bit before I draw on it, I'm gonna grab that yellow that I talked about before. So I'm going directly into the yellow palette, and I am just gonna put some little bits of yellow in there. Because that is kind of what's happened here, right? We just have some bits of yellow that we want to shine through. So, you know, I'm just going through and adding just the tiny little bits of color, because we just want, you know, we want that to look like, so I'm not sure I love that. So I'm just drying my brush, and then I'm lifting out just a little bit so that I can, you know, kind of fade it just a hair, a smidge, right? But that's what we want. We want just a little bit of fudging and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the first boat is what looks sort of like very close to this thing. And okay. The first boat's shape is sort of like this, right? Let's see. It's here. If we look at it, it's kind of like a diagonal line upward. What is wrong with my pencil? Why isn't it working? Ugh. All right, there we go. Hang on one second. I'm just gonna, just give me 1 minute. All right, we're good. Sorry. Okay, so I got my pencil, and I'm gonna start out, and I'm making, it is skinnier here. That's the shape of it. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me zoom in un poco a little bit. There you go. And then we got this one that's going to be in the center. And it is also going to kind of rise up above the water. And it's also got this thing. And finally, there's a boat on this side, which is like here. Okay, so notice how it's like thicker there, thinner here. And then we just got a little like little houseboat action. And then all of these have this like long bow thing. All right, so the main reason that we did this is we just want to know where we're gonna paint them. So it is like a yellowy orange color. So we're gonna take our, we actually kind of already have this orange here. So we are just gonna add more yellow to it. So grab some yellow, and put it down in here. All right, so now step 1 of this is going to be just to fill in this color. So there's obviously some gradation, but for now, all we want to do is we're just going to fill this in. Because then, after we filled it in, we can go back and add a little bit of detail. So, there's our boat. Yay for us. On this side, we also have the same kind of thing. There's our boat. Yay for us. And finally, you know what? I'm going to hold off on doing that one. Okay, so now that we have that boat, what we want is the back of the boat looks a little bit redder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of this orangish red that we have from before. And because it's still wet, if I put it down, oops, if I put this down, it should flow a little bit. So we get that like darker business on the bottom. So, and on this one, same thing. We got a little bit of darkness there. Now, we also will note that there's a little bit of darkness, almost like a dark brown. So I'm actually going to go into our dried up paint. Let me back out so you can see. Here we go. I went into this, like, we had this muddy blackish brown color that we made before. If I had to guess, it's probably blue and brown. I mean, sorry, blue and orange. But so we're grabbing a little bit of it, and all we're gonna do is just remember it's still wet. So if we just go across there, it is gonna just kind of bleed into the color we already put. And we want this thing up here. All right, same thing here. We're just gonna go ahead and put that in. The top of the boat is there, and then this thing is also actually there. And on this other side, because I didn't do it yet, let me first of all start out with my color. Just gonna paint, yep, and a little bit on the top there. Okay, so there's that color, and then we're gonna dry that off. We're gonna grab a little bit of our dark brown, and it's, like I said, it is still wet, so we can kind of come back and just fill in some of that dark color, and it'll just flow. It's like adding value. Adding value, actually, in watercolor is pretty simple as long as you continue to work wet. And we can, even put down some of the... All right. So we didn't do the top of this boat. So the top of this boat is like a... All right, and just gonna grab a little bit of muddy. I'm getting the extra water off, and then I'm gonna grab some of this muddy green color. I can kind of create that little bit of business that we see. So right now we're just kind of creating a little bit of variation in color. It's not, this is not about like preciseness. We're just kind of creating these little boats, and get back up so you can kind of see what's happening there, kind of what it all looks like. So obviously we haven't done any of the reflecting business, but we just haven't done it yet. So one of the things that we can do is we can, first things first, let's take a little bit of water with our flat brush, and I'm just gonna, no, I'm not touching that because that is still wet and we don't want it to be wet, but we're gonna make reflections in the water. So we are gonna make the ground underneath it wet, so that when we put in our reflections, notice I'm going to grab some of that brownish color, and I'm just going to, there we go. And on this one, same thing, right? And here. So I am just trying to very casually kind of mimic, and because, we're trying to make it look a lot like it's a reflection, we're fine with making these like kind of weird bleedy shapes. You can even kind of shift the paintbrush. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this way, so that you get that like wavy line of the, of the reflection. And we will, kind of go back and add some more color. So, ooh, look at that. There's a line, a little line here. It's like the line that's anchoring it. And then we got, all right. All right, so we are working. So we also need to create, let's see if that is dry. Okay, that is dry enough. All right, so now I can actually kind of put in the shadow that is underneath the ground, because this is, obviously shadows tend to touch things. So you want to make sure your things have shadows, like your objects. And there is just some rando thing floating in the water. So I'm just going to make a rando thing floating in the water. I don't even know what it is, but it's fine. All right, so this is a pretty strong color. Whoops. And it's not dry enough, so I just dried my paintbrush, and then I'm gonna kind of go over it so it looks like it bleeds into it, which is kind of what we want. And then over here, I'm gonna dry my brush, the extra bits of brush, and I'm just gonna put in some color there. So basically what we kind of want is we want a little bit of salt in the front here. So maybe we'll grab my paintbrush. I'm going to dry my paintbrush. So a lot of this is kind of intuitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint some water here where we want this bit to be. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of this orangish color and a little bit, oh, look at me. I keep spilling stuff. It's all in the same spot. It's like that little spot is my nemesis. All right. So here we go. Painting that color, making it a little brighter. And then, where's my salt? Oh, here it is. Ha. And I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of salt there. So it will hopefully, kind of create a little bit more interest. I need to put my salt somewhere that I'm not going to lose it. All right. Okay, so we're going to let that dry a wee bit and kind of look back and see where else we want. I think we could actually use a little bit more cloud business in the sky. So let's go back to the sky and work on it. So my expectation from you is I want you to try to copy this as close as you can because I want you to kind of get an idea of how we build up layers of color. And I have misplaced one of my paintbrush is. Oh well, I'll just use this guy. I think we all have one of these, a flat, what is this? This is a 7, so even 8 is fine. All right, so we have this. We're gonna paint a little bit. I'm just gonna grab some water and paint. Okay, so painting water, and then we're gonna grab some of our purple color. We're just gonna go in and charge it and let that, just kind of flow outward. It's kind of what we want. And like this is, we are just trying to explore the medium. So I don't like the lines that I got there. Like if you look closely, right, there's some line there and I don't want that line. So I just dried my paintbrush and now I'm just gonna kind of soften that line. See? So it's kind of gone. All right, there we are. Okay, so still letting that dry. We're gonna go back and we're gonna work. I'm gonna just touch my boats. My boats are dry, so I can go back and I can kind of add a little bit more detail. So when we add detail, this is the final part where we're gonna use like our tiniest brushes and we're gonna add like our final details. So you're gonna take your smallest brushes and then you're gonna grab, like for me, can you guys see? You can't. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna grab this color. It is like my darkish color that I have. And I'm just gonna take it and I am going to kind of add a little bit here. Because I'm just trying to add some of the, the little bits of the boat that I want. And if I don't like it, let's say, I'm like, ugh, now I don't like that, right? I can take my paintbrush, I can get it wet, and I can just kind of spread it, soften that line so it doesn't look so dark. And if I don't like if I'm like, ugh, I can, dry my brush and come back here and lift out a little bit so it doesn't look so drastic. And I noticed that there is another little cable going into the ground. So I'm just gonna grab my paintbrush Add the cable, there we go. Now, we also have, because I believe these boats are from Thailand, they have those colorful scarf thingies hanging off of them. So I'm just gonna, first I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to my boat because it needs like a highlight. So I'm just gonna add a little bit to the highlight there. And I'm just brightening up my boat a little bit. And let's see what else. I'm gonna take some of that dark color actually. Let's darken up this boat. This boat is significantly darker than the other ones. So my recommendation to you is, as you're doing this, you should open the one picture and have it in front of you so you can kind of look at it and see what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing. All right. So we do have some things that we need to worry about. Maybe I should well, there's a really kind of pretty cloud up here that hasn't been addressed yet. So I'm just gonna address it. There you go. Now that I've done that, I'm drying my brush and I am just gonna let it kind of peter into that purple. You know, I think I might actually grab a little bit of that purple and bring it in on this side so that we get that two colors meeting each other thing. And gonna make them fade out into each other. Good. I like that. And maybe over here I can do it a little bit. There you go. And look at that. I should get my hair dryer so I can dry this quickly. And I will. All right. I like this color. This is like an old color. Like I told you, I save my colors. If I had to guess, that's probably brown and orange, maybe brown and red. We can look at our color chart and figure out. And I'm just adding a little bit of the highlight here because I want it to change color a little bit. And then here, and on this side. All right. Dry my brush, smear that. Okay. Boy, that is annoying, isn't it? Don't we just want to see it dry, don't we? So let's get the hairdryer and see what happens. Hold on. There we go. All right. All right. So I think that well, that is still not totally dry. Maybe we'll work on let's work on the water a little bit. How's that sound? Okay, so to do that, we're gonna grab our brush. Let's say you guys have a number 8. We could do, how about a 3? Let's do a 3. Okay. All right, so we can start out with our 8, right? That we already have. So we take our number 8 or your 10, doesn't really matter. We're just applying water right now. So we're gonna start out and we're just gonna put in some water, right? So here we are, water, 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 everywhere water. And once we have that water down, we're gonna grab just a little bit of this color that's over here. This is sort of like a purpley mixed with some yellow kind of color. So we don't want a lot of it. We are just trying to kind of we're just trying to make this edge a little darker. So, you know, what happens is when the water moves towards, and you can see there's that line there, which I don't like. So I'm going to go back in, dry my brush a little bit, and then just soften it, just like that. And it's amazing what, you know, if you're controlling it, what you can do. So then I'm going to just come back and add some more water here. So once I've added this water, what I'm going to do is I'm going to what we kind of want to do is we're going to put down a bunch of water here, and then we're just going to take some colors and streak them, and they will kind of bleed the way that some of them already have. So here's my water. Take in one of those flat brushes, and right now I'm just painting water. Water, water, water. Okay, now that we have water everywhere, we're going to take our paint colors. And we're going to take our purple. There's our purple color. And we can just put some. So notice how it's water, right? So it's just kind of streaking a little. I know, I'm sorry. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but you know, we're just trying to create the illusion of, you know, like the light reflecting. And I'm using more of like the reds, kind of where I see that they are in the sky. Like you can kind of see there's more blue on this side than there is on this side. So when we're painting down here, actually I didn't add enough water, did I? You know, add some water here. So just adding water. Now, when I come back and I add those streaks, I'm just going to add the bluish streaks. You know. Now, it's not to say that I don't have blue other places, right? But we're just trying to create that illusion of like water. Perfect. All right, feeling good about that. And here's my salt. Didn't love what the salt did. Hopefully yours will be more successful. But that's fine. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we are gonna work on our reflections. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna paint it with water. This is just water I'm painting right now. And then spread it out a little. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to grab some of my purplish color. And I'm just going to paint that. Okay, that is too much. So I can suck it up a little bit so that it spreads out. And maybe I'm going to take some of the brown color because it's not a pure purple. So all I'm doing is grabbing some of my brown business and just filling it in. All right. And on this side, okay. We still need a little bit in the sky. Whoops! Ah! I dropped my pencil. Hey, whatever. I want to add a little bit of orange here. There's stuff. Okay. All right. So I am just going to come in and add a little bit of water here. Just adding water. And then we're going to take a little bit of that orange color that we had, and we're just going to put it in. And we can grab our paintbrush, a clean one, and just kind of spread it out a little bit so we get that transition. And a couple more little spots of yellow. And dried brush and spreading it out. There we go. All right. Fantastic. And we'll go ahead and add some more. There's some little dark business, so we're gonna, let's see, we kind of want a purple, like a blue and orange put together. So here's my blue, and then I'm gonna take some orange. Okay, that's kind of what I want. That's exactly what I want. So I have this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some water. First, I'm going to paint some water here. Just spreading out some water. So then, when I take this color, all I'm going to do is just put a little bit in. Yeah. Okay. All right, and I think the final thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take my smallest brush, which right now, because I've misplaced my other one, I'm just going to grab a little bit of red. I think we have some. So I'm going, this is the only time I'm going straight from the palette. I'm just grabbing a little bit of red, and I'm trying to draw. There's like a... Oh, there's an orange too. All right. So, well, more or less I'm done. I mean, there's a couple of places where I think I want to go back and work, but I think you all kind of get the feeling. So the idea is build up layers of color. And just to kind of talk more, remember I told you I wanted to use at least 6. So think about it. We used salt, we used washes, dry brush, we used gradient washes, feathering, glazing, lifting out. We could have used wax resist if we wanted to. Technically, we sort of did some dry brushing here. We went directly from there. We could have done some pouncing. We definitely, we could, you know what we could do? We could take our watercolor pencil and build up some of the lines of water and then wash through them if we wanted to. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful and useful to you. So what I want you to do is I want you to practice this and then post it for me and let me see what it looks like. Okay, thanks.